Trend Like You Fight, and this week we are reviewing an integrally suppressed rifle from HM Defense. Now, before we get into this review, there's a couple things I need to clear up with you guys. This was provided to me by HM Defense. I do know the guys over there at HM Defense, but I'm going to give you guys an honest review of this, obviously. In addition to that, this particular upper receiver has been discontinued by HM Defense. Now, this thing did not start life as an integrally suppressed rifle. This was actually a flash diverter. So this tube on the end of here did not have any baffles in it. It was hollow. It just spit giant fireballs. I've since Form 1'd it and converted it into a suppressor. Now, HM Defense did end up discontinuing these because people really just could not get Form 1s approved to convert these guys, and so the demand kind of dropped off for them. So now you can get the fully integrally suppressed models from HM Defense. This particular model, like I said, just was kind of short-lived. So let's just get into it, guys. Now, this thing is really cool, and it is completely different from any other integrally suppressed rifle out there. If you're not familiar with integrally suppressed AR-15s, what literally every other company does is they take a short barrel, usually a 10.3 or 10.5 barrel, and they pin and weld a suppressor on the end of their gun. What HM Defense is doing is they are actually machining the suppressor tube, the gas block, and the barrel all out of one solid piece of steel. So there is no pinning and welding, there's no staking, none of that. It is all a true one-piece system. And that's why HM Defense is actually calling this the world's first truly integrally suppressed AR-15, because it is a true one-piece system. Now, the reason HM Defense did that is not only is this a one-tack stamp gun, because the overall length is over 16 inches, is that you actually get better barrel harmonics when you have a one-piece system like this. So the guys who are at HM Defense were explaining to me that when you take a barrel and you try to weld a suppressor on the end of it, that welding process actually changes the metal of the barrel and gives you slight differences in just like the strength and structure of the metal, causing minor inaccuracies. It's not like it's going to blow up, but it's not as accurate. In addition to that, they said that this true one-piece system obviously can't walk its way off, and yeah, there's just a lot of good reasons why they went with this. It is a lot harder for them to make this versus simply just welding a suppressor on, but they say it's worth it. Now, my suppressor is actually a little bit shorter than the current production model. So the guys who are at HM Defense ended up going with a 7-inch suppressor and a 9.25-inch barrel. So you actually get the same 16.25-inch barrel, but they said that they just want to make the suppressor a little bit longer without changing the overall length past 16 inches. So just a minor difference, but for all intents and purposes, very similar. Now, the suppressor itself sounds very similar to like a Surefire can. It's not crazy quiet or anything like that. It's not a high volume can, so it's not going to be ridiculously quiet. It is a 5.56 gun, so it's just really not going to be all that quiet to start with, but it does give you really good sound suppression. It also gives you really good flash suppression, and it's just a really robust suppressor. It is a little over-engineered, you could tell, because the gun is very front heavy. But the guys who are at HM Defense told me that was very intentional, because they said a lot of suppressors just really aren't fully automatic rated. They said all of their suppressors are, so I don't have full auto lower, but if I ever got my hands on one, this upper would totally work on one. Now, moving past the suppressor, the gas block is also really cool because, like I said, they machine the gas blocks into the barrels itself. And it's kind of the same concept with the suppressor. They said anytime you like attach anything to a barrel permanently, weld it, pin it, whatever, you do change the barrel a little bit, and that clamping force of the gas block actually does cause some minor inaccuracies in the barrel. So them machining it into the barrel itself creates a much more accurate system. I don't know if that's true or not. I don't have another integrally suppressed rifle to compare this to, but it does make sense in my mind. Now, the barrel itself is pretty interesting. So the barrel has its very own contour. It's not a heavy barrel, it's not a pencil barrel, it's kind of HM Defense's own barrel profile, but it has 3 very distinct steps to it. And the guys at HM Defense told me that they designed the barrel this way so, for one, the suppressor doesn't deflect the barrel all that much. It's not going to cause it to droop. That's why they kind of really beefed up the base of the barrel. But also, they needed to clear out a lot of material in order to get this ultra low profile gas block on here. Now, this particular handguard is a little larger because of the suppressor, but their other models can have slimmer handguards because of how low profile that gas block is. So It's really an interesting barrel. Like I said, I've never seen anything like it. In addition to all that, they also button rifle their barrels. So the industry standards usually cold hammer forged chrome lined barrels. And HM Defense went with the button rifling, they told me, because it is more accurate. They said that chrome lining process actually adds material to the inside of the barrel, causing minor inaccuracies. So they said this system's a lot more accurate. It's just not as strong. It won't last as long as those chrome lined barrels. I'm not shooting tens of thousands of rounds to this thing every year, so I assume this thing will last me a very, very long time. Now, accuracy-wise, we've been shooting about 2 to 3 inch groups with it. Nothing ridiculous. It's not by no means like a match-grade rifle, but it is very accurate for a rifle with only a 10 1/4 inch barrel on it. So pretty good if you ask me. Now, the rest of the rifle is pretty standard. There's nothing too crazy going on. The only thing that is the only other part of this rifle that is kind of special to HM Defense is the HM bolt. Now, the HM bolt, the only real difference between it and your standard mil-spec bolt is the cam pin hole. So HM Defense doesn't bore their cam pin hole all the way through their bolt. They actually only bore it what looks to be about 3/4 of the way through. So you don't have a hole running straight through your bolt, and that actually gives you a lot more structure. Now, to accommodate that, they did have to shorten the cam pin, but it really doesn't affect the function of the rifle. This is my second rifle that I've ran an HM bolt in, and it's run perfectly fine. The HM bolt comes in every HM Defense rifle, and like I said, it's never given me any issues, and I think it's a really good design. Now, besides that, there are a few accessories that I added to this guy. I didn't add too many accessories because it is a slightly heavier rifle, and I didn't want to over encumber it with a bunch of accessories, but we have Magpul Embus sights, a VTAC sling on here, a hot pocket handguard wrap because the suppressor does get pretty hot after about 60 rounds to the point where you really can't touch it. Meprolite M21, pretty cool optic. I do have an illuminator on this to kind of help with the washing out issue that these optics will have in dim environments. And then I also added a Silencer Company gas defeating charging handle. It's a pretty nice charging handle. I've seen guys where they say this charging handle has fallen apart on them because the roll pins have fallen out. I have yet to have that happen myself. I got it just because I was curious to see how it worked. This gun is very well gassed, and so I really haven't noticed that like I needed to add this. Like I wasn't getting a whole lot of gas to the face. Only if I was doing maybe mag dumps with it would I notice any gas in my eyes. But this thing has completely sealed up all the gas that has come out of the charging handle, and it's worked great. Like I said, not a whole lot of gas coming out of the charging handle in the first place, but what little there was, it has sealed it up. I haven't had any of those issues of this thing falling apart though. And I've got about 800 rounds on this gun to date. No cleaning, no lubrication, no real tinkering with the rifle. So like I said, it's been a good gun. The only modification I have made to the buffer system, I actually ended up dropping a heavy buffer in this because it is slightly overgassed, and that's to accommodate a wide range of ammunition. I have noticed that I haven't had any issues with 55 grain or 62 grain ammo, and the ejection pattern wasn't really firing out at that good 3 o'clock position. So the heavy buffer kind of smoothed out the recoil a little bit, and the ejection pattern looks really good with it right now. So it's probably one of my smoothest shooting rifles I have to date. And yeah, it's just been a really fun gun, guys. The lower receiver on here, this is just a standard arrow I got from Gunbroker for like 200 bucks. So nothing crazy to talk about there. Standard trigger, controls are all standard. Now you might be able to tell there are some salt lines starting to build up on this guy. Like I said, I haven't cleaned it, haven't done anything to it, and it's shot great over the past year that I've had it. So it's just been a really good shooter, guys. I definitely recommend, if you're in the market for an integrally suppressed rifle, I definitely recommend checking out the HM Defense Stealth series, because the Covert series is kind of no more. They are probably the cheapest integrally suppressed rifles you can get out there to date, and they're probably the most accurate that you can get also. So go check them out, guys. I think you'll like what you find out there. And yeah, that's it for now, guys. I just want to thank you for watching, and remember to train like you fight.